Morning, everyone. I'm actually going to release this one. I guess if I don't, you guys will never know I said that. But I think I've made like 4 videos in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I just never released them. Talking about stuff I'm going to talk about here, so I'd be repeating myself. But I kind of wanted to wait till the events were over that I was in, and then kind of do a high level recap. I had a really good run, so I played in the lunch meet, I played in the TTS league, and I played in a local event. Pretty much played Convocation. I think almost every game except I had some Dracula in there. I think I had 3 or so games with Dracula because I had the duel for a lot of the games. Went well. I won my local 4-0. I went 6-0 in the TTS league, and I went 4-1. Lost the finals in lunch meet to Inhumans and Torb. That was a good game. I think like 5 or 6 of my games were streamed, so if you guys want to go watch me play, I had some very close games that went my way, and obviously the one loss. Of course, I always focus on the one loss. I hate losing. It's definitely something that I joke around with like Curtis and stuff about how what I went between those events. I went 14-1, and I'm still pissed that I lost. Like not like pissed, but just like damn, like you focus on it a lot, and so that's just as how it is, and how we improve to go forward. I'll make some changes to my convocation. I'm not going to change affiliations right now. I just don't have anything that calls me per se. Again, I've said this to the meeting before. I don't think it's not like MCP doesn't call me. I still very much enjoy playing. But when I look at the other affiliations out there, besides Midnight Suns, who I just spent a long time playing, I don't really have something that draws me in that I want to play. I think I to the detriment sometimes of myself. I live in this world, and it's been basically 20 years of this. Well, it wasn't always like this, but I want to live in this world of gaming where I am playing. I don't want to call it tier 1.5 stuff, but like I want to play things that can compete, do well, have a lot of like moving parts that are fun, and aren't, for the most part, the most popular or busted thing in the game. If something becomes really good because I'm using it, in a sense, or because like I'm maybe innovating some of it, I think I'm more inclined to stick with something being really good, assuming it fits the style I want to play. But I'm not a huge like jumper to like the good stuff, to the best stuff. Sorry, I play good stuff. I'm gonna preface this right now with saying, all the games I've played, I will always play good stuff. I'm not gonna be a Sentinels player. If things are super shit, I'm not gonna play them. Like I'm not here to like high road people and be like I'm just a snowflake. But I've been dabbling in a side note tangent, whatever. I've been dabbling in like Flesh and Blood because Johnny plays it, which is like a card game, and I have some local things around me, and I play online. And I've been ingesting a lot of TCG content just to kind of get a sense of things. And it's crazy, I guess, because it's card games, because there's more money involved in winning. It's like this, these big tournaments where 40% of the meta is like, or like 60% of the meta is like 2 decks. It's like the best 2 decks in the format, and they constantly switch, and all these top players, for the most part, just keep switching to what the best thing is. And it totally, it's very off-putting for me, to be completely honest with you. Like, not only that I wouldn't want to buy a new deck all the time. And to be fair, like some of these people they go to the pro tours, they want to get points, there's cash prizes, stuff like that. Like I get it. Like I'm not defying anyone who goes and tries to win with the best stuff, especially when there's money involved, and which is why I'm glad there's no money involved in wargaming pretty much. I'm actually very happy. Like people have asked me like, would you like it to be like a $2,000 tournament? And I would be like, absolutely not. Like I don't want that pressure on myself, and I don't want to put the game to be at that level stakes where I think it would take the enjoyment out of the game for me. because, like I said, I don't know. My snowflakey is that I like to play and win with something that's kind of unique and does kind of cool, strong things, and not like the thing that everyone does. Um, I don't know. Sometimes it's about winning for like yourself and then winning the whole thing. I don't know how to put it any different than that. I don't even know where I'm going. So that kind of bugs me about TCG community stuff because like the meta shifts so much that like your deck could just be useless at some point, especially if it's like an expensive deck. But I get why people do it. It is a little, and also like the win rates of TCGs are much different. So like in MCP, I think my win, my win rate is like 80% or something. But against lower level players, it's probably like way higher, right? Because I play a lot of really good players, so it's not like it's probably like when I'm playing somebody who's significantly worse than I am, I'm probably like a 90% win rate. And in TCGs, because of the deck and the variable, the matchups of the decks are a little more skewed, and the variableness of like the drawing cards. There's only so much you can do sometimes. A good win rate versus like an average, for an average deck is probably like 60 to 70 for a good player, maybe a little higher. But like, I don't know. It's just this weird, like you're going to lose a lot more. Like some games, like if you play 20 games and you win, I don't know, 15 of them, like you're doing pretty good probably, depending on the matchups and the draws you get. Whereas in MCP, it's decent, but I'd be like, oh, this kind of feels like I don't like that. So I've been having a little bit of issues with that side of the game. But I don't know why I went off on that tangent. I just don't like the meta stuff. I think it's way more aggressive there, where all the podcasts are just like, these two decks are the good decks. You can only play these decks if you want to win. And I'm like, whoa, this kind of sucks. I kind of want to just play my one thing. Of course, I'm not going to big events for Flesh and Blood, so I don't really have to like concern myself with it too much. But where am I going with all this? Because I've spent way too much time talking about this. Where I'm going with it is, I want to continue playing Convocation. I don't think there's any other affiliation that draws me besides like Suns at the moment, and I've already played a lot of Suns. I mean, if we just look at, let's just look at what's out there real quick. I'm already here. I might as well talk, right? Like, I don't know. No A-Force, no Asgard. Okay, Sam is interesting. I wouldn't want to play. Okay, Sam and Steve 3 are both kind of interesting. I have played Sam before. Black Order, absolutely not. Brotherhood, not really. Red Skull 3 is interesting, at least. Convocation, of course, I talk about them. Crims is not interesting at all. No Dorm, no Defenders, no Guardians, no Hellfire, no Hydra, no Inhumans, no Lost. Suns are good. Newans, no Shield. I don't think I'd like them that much. Sentinels, no. APOC is good. I'd probably like APOC. So APOC is probably one of the ones where like I probably would really like playing APOC because of all the moving pieces and stuff, but I think he's a little too popularly strong right now. Maybe he's on the borderline of like he's not like so like, yeah. He's kind of died down a little bit where we are. Again, a lot of this is like a me problem too, right? Like I play in online leagues. My locals don't give a shit. Like they know what's good, I guess, but like they don't have this like it's not like you're gonna go and show up and be like, oh my gosh, you're playing the meta thing. Lunch meets, again, like I want to do well in them, but this isn't some like test to be like I need to take the most broken things to lunch meet so I can win a lunch meet. I've won enough of them now that I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll play. Hopefully I play something I like, and if I do well with it, great. And if I don't, no. But I don't know. I think there's more meta pressure on myself to like not play like APOC in humans than there is from like outside forces. If you think about it like that. But APOC's a little popular right now. I mean, I'm not going to take it to like Second Wind. So like my next big event in person is Second Wind. If I'm signed up for it, my gut is that I'm going to go to it. So if it's not from a terms of like what can I play in person, I'm basically limited because I get all my models commissioned, and I'm not going to get a fully APOC thing commissioned in 2 months for Second Wind. So it's basically down to like Midnight Suns, Avengers, or Convocation. I guess technically I can do Defenders. Nah, I'm not playing that shit unless I borrowed stuff. But even like for the, we have a team event coming up with Johnny and Curtis. I'm playing Convocation there, and then I have the next lunch meets coming up, and I was like, should I play something weird? Should I go to something like Red Skull 3 Cabal? Should I do Sam? I mean, if you go through the rest of the list, no Spider Foes, no Drac. No pure Drac at least. No X-Men. No Wakanda. Yeah, nothing else. Like, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're not interesting. It's just like it doesn't call to me to where, I'll put it this way. I could sit here and say, man, I should switch because I've played so much Convocation recently, and there's nothing that kind of grasps me away from it. Like, I can say, okay, I think APOC seems kind of cool, or whoever, right? There's coolness in everything to some extent, but I know that when I go play that, I probably won't feel the same way. Like, there's definitely X Force used to be one where I was like, this is so cool. Like, they shoot all the things, Cable does this stuff, and I played them a couple games. And I'm like, this isn't actually that interesting to play. But that's probably again a me problem in the way I like to play and I like my leadership. I will say that Midnight Suns probably they do, like, if anything, I'd probably go back to Suns because when I left them, it was squad goals, right? And I had just come off a good performance at squad goals, but not only did they get buffed OG Strange, where I think that's his best home, but I had just kind of brought back to myself using Iron Fist, and I think I probably said this. I think he was like one of the keys to winning squad goals. Like 100% putting him in my roster, like towards the end of it, was probably the best decision I made at squad goals, was to put him in and then use him in game. So like I hadn't fully not explored it, but I hadn't really gone to that point, or gone past it. Like I played it at squad goals and then it was done. I didn't have much experience with him, leading up past that, nor OG Strange. So I would go back to them if anything. But let's just focus on Convocation. I think I am 99% sure if four squad goals, not squad goals, second win, if I go, I will play Convocation. They're my favorite thing to play. I got them all painted. It would be lovely to win this event, second win, but it's not the same as squad goals to me. Like, I want to do well. I'm going because Gurn's going, Jordan's going, Johnny's going, Bots will be there. Like, I want to see Nate and stuff, the Taco guys. Like, there's a lot of people there that I'm interested in seeing. But if, like, a couple of my close friends weren't going, I wouldn't probably go. Just because I'm tired of flying. But we're 12 minutes in. Not talked one thing about Convocation, but let's go. So this is kind of where I'm at. I've done things with Dracula. I've done things with Thrall. I've done blah blah blah, different scenarios. And then Dracula's not here right now, but he probably will be in the roster, to be completely honest with you. But I didn't want to put him in quite yet. I think you guys know where I'm at. I like Strange, Dr. Voodoo, Magic Wong. Like, those are the 4 Convocation models I like. I haven't played Clea. Not really interested in her. I don't think there's anything where I would use her. I don't like Mordo. I don't want OG Strange. Like, these are just models I'm not interested in this context. Like, I don't know. You play them if you want. I don't want them. All right? Shang, probably the best 4 in the game. I think he is very good in Convocation specifically, so he gets a spot in the list. I mean, he's really good with planes. He's good with bump. He's good with Wong. Like, there's just, I don't know. I'm not here to be anti-meta. I'm here to play Convocation with good models, right? So Taskmaster's in here. Again, he has very specific uses, and I still need to keep him in the roster to see if he meets that criteria that I'm looking for. In that, does he give me the flexibility in certain spots that I truly need? I do think that if I don't have an alternate plan for some of these close maps, like Wedding Party and Intrusions or whatnot, I do need him to run like the Magic Taskmaster Strange core of 11. And I guess you could always take Voodoo there, but I don't know. I guess to me it's like Voodoo's fine there. He's not like bad at Wedding Party. He can be brawly. it's just like, I don't know. I value my splashes there a little bit more. So who knows? Taskmaster is always like in that question zone of, he opens up some interesting, like really wide team. Like you can run 6 wide with Strange because you can go Taskmaster, Magic, Wong, Strange. Um, that's 13. Then you can go like a 3 and a 4 at 20. I'm not going to run another 2. Or you can do Voodoo, Magic, Taskmaster, Wong, which is at 12, and you can go a 19. You can go 6 wide. I do want to explore those a little bit more. I mean, I love Doctor Strange, and he should be played in almost every game, but I can't deny that, like, there are games where, you know, not taking him has some maybe validity to it that I really want to explore if Taskmaster really comes in enough. So basically, it leaves me with 4 slots, right? And then these are the cards I'm probably always taking, and then the rest will be filled out by either character cards or generics like Warpath if you have Dracula in there. So as you can see, I think maybe the most interesting part of this video might be the crisis selection. So I've been I don't change my crisis that much, and I do think that in today's world, it's probably fair, just given the meta. It's probably the one place in the meta that in like the TTS League that I do kind of switch it up a little bit. Maybe, I mean, I know I do it, but maybe it's probably the best place to do it. So I'll give you an example. Just go back to the crisis, right? Editing crisis, right? I think it's fair to just say, fuck civilians. Let's just run assets. And humans are annoying enough and good enough, and I don't think there's necessarily that bad. Like, I don't think the assets are bad enough or they're not bad. The assets are fine for convocation that we can just run them and not care. And let's give us the edge if possible there. Like, I don't think if we don't take senators, we're like in a horrible position. So I think I would take hammers and scientific samples would definitely be there. So hammers is one I already run. I think with Voodoo, Strange really good with the hammer. A lot of people are, but like it is still always scary to play with hammers because other people get better dice too. But given Voodoo can steal them, given I don't know. It's an asset. I just think we're fine on it. Like, I don't mind playing it. I think it's the easy one to throw in and just say, okay, cool. We have one of the best people to take to steal hammers and stack them up, and let's just roll with it, right? Scientific samples is one I didn't take with convocation a lot, but I took it a little bit with Midnight Suns, and I stopped because of some reasons, and now I think it is good in convocation. I think the biggest reason is they're one of the better teams at staying within 2 with bump. It's very hard to get them off of it if you're doing damage to them, like especially because it's range 2 of the secure. So like it's just really hard, right? With bump, it's almost like impossible to get them off of it unless you have like a long enough throw that you don't hit terrain with. But they're also good at getting people off of it, like people like people like Strange is really good with, like, if you have a last activation Strange and he has 1 or 2 scalpels, he can easily like get your person next to it that got away and teleport somebody else away and cost them points, right? The extra power, we're never going to complain about extra power. It's nice on Voodoo. It's nice on Strange. If you just roll Skull, you just get extra power. So there's lots of uses there. I think it's just a good one where it's fast enough because I do think we're going to have to play some scenario games, but also like they're good enough at it versus other things that would potentially be good at it to where I don't mind playing it. I think the last one's a little hard because you're kind of like, okay, I'm not going to take Alien Ship. I'm not going to take Spider Infected. I'm not going to take Cubes. I don't like playing Cubes with Convocation. I just don't like taking all the damage, personally. Wedding Terragenesis, I still don't think this is good, right? No. I mean, I think it's between Legacy and Inhuman Weapons. I kind of like 19 more as a threat. Like, sure, it's asymmetrical in that, or it's odd numbers, so the enemy might be able to go up on you if they can take two of them. I don't necessarily think this is like the biggest problem in Convocation. I think I've been able to get them back. And at 19, you can play like some of the fightier teams, like with Dracula and stuff, and he can like stand across from one and be like, well, if you take it, someone's hidden you. Stuff like that. I probably would lean towards Legacy if I had to pick one, just because I think I'd rather play 19 with 3 than 18 with 4. That could change. I think it's between Virus and Inhuman weapons, but I'll lean Virus because I like the threat more. It gets a little bit harder on Crisis. So what I don't want to take, to be completely honest with you, I don't want to take the D maps. I don't want to take Cosmic Invasion and Riots. I think we're good there. You know what it is? I personally don't enjoy playing them that much, even though we're good at them. And I don't know. I just don't want to subject myself to it all the time. Maybe one of them. I think the big one to kind of point out is I don't think I'm going to play Scoundrels for a while. I think Kingpin is too popular and too advantaged in it, and it's too easy for him. So like, what's the best way to put this? I think you can kind of like picture a world where, can we compete on it? Sure, I've beaten enough Kingpins on it. I mean, I've only lost like 1 or 2 Convocation games on Scoundrels in the last like years, right? I don't lose it very often, but I can recognize how difficult it can be and how easy it is for Kingpin to where I guess that's kind of like the thought process, right? In some of it. And same thing with taking like assets in civilian. Do I think we could beat them on civilians? It's hard. It's very hard to beat humans on civilians. But sure. But I think there's like this world where I'm thinking, especially Kingpin's a great example of like, if I'm against a Kingpin player that is not as good as me and we get Scoundrels, I'm like, fuck, it's still a hard game. And like, it's still a hard game despite the skill gap. And so, but if you say, oh, we're going to play something, I don't know, like Guardians, obviously it's a pay to flip. So that's like not fair in a certain case. But like, oh, we're going to play something a little bit less fast, a little bit more like you have to be good at it. Like, the teams that are good at Guardians or pay to flips, I'm not going to say they're less scary, but like the skill involved in doing them better is higher. And so it's, even if the enemy is slightly advantaged, even though I don't like to act like it matters that much, even if the easier, I want it to still be difficult for the enemy, right? Like if you look at a Guardians pay to flip against someone who's slightly advantaged on it, pay to flips, is still probably better for me from a skill perspective than Scoundrels Kingpin, right? Like as I've always said this, and shout outs to my Kingpin, Gurn plays him. It's just like all the onus feels to be on me in that situation to play better. And so what I'm trying to do with my secures and stuff is say, okay, I know what is popular and what is strong in the meta. Can I at least make it so that the skewness of Crisis, whatever there may be, is slightly more in my favor? That's really what I'm trying to do here is. And there's always going to be situations where like, this fucking sucks. Like, I don't want to play Intrusions. But all right, do I have a team that I at least feel okay on it on? If I do, let's fucking roll, right? So I do want to play this one. Again, I also, because I actually think we're good at it, because it's far enough away where it's not like McCrane, McChicken levels of like closeness, and like you have to be a little bit faster. But like I also have a 17 that is like really fast. Like if you think of like Zemo, Shang, I don't have Shang in the roster before. Magic, Wong, Strange. Like okay, Wong sits on the back one and can flip it if needed, and everyone else has like teleports and charges and movement to like jump around if needed. Um, and it's not 50-50s where like okay, to be fair, having an extract and a 3 dice versus one is basically is a 50-50, but at least when people die, like then they can't secure it. I think that's probably one of the I mean 50-50s are just annoying, but one early turn one it's easier to defend, I'm using air quotes, your secures because you usually have like one or two people on it, so it's very hard to flip over you. And also the fact that like if you daze people they still count for the 50-50 is really annoying, so like having some agency in killing people, like you can start flipping out from under them. So like I don't know, I might have McCrane in the list, but I think this is the first one that kind of comes to mind of I want to test. Again, this is testing. I haven't played this one in my roster before, haven't even played it that much in game, but I feel like we should be decent at it, and it's neutral enough that like there's no team out there that I'm like, oh my god, I can't beat it. It does. We have power. Strange has power. It's not based on stats, so people like Wong and Voodoo don't get screwed by it. It's close enough that like our movement tech is relevant. Something on maybe like a Madman going side to side. Sure, being a long mover and scalpel can help, but it's still hard to go back side to side. Um, so I think that's a good one. So I don't really want to demap. I don't want to play riots and stuff. I don't know if I think webs are too good at it, but like I don't know. Part of me is also like you think of webs, Kingpin, on the secure side, and you think of like extract side being like civilians, and you just say let's just not put ourselves in a position that those are as big of an issue, and just say, all right, well, if you want to play on your, I mean, I don't know, if webs want to play me on their secures, which are like D's and stuff, okay, at least we might not get samples, and if we get hammers or virus, I'm a little happier, right? Like, sure, I mean, I can compete on all of them. It's fine. Webs is maybe a poor example, but if I win and I want to go on my secures, maybe it's I don't know. I don't give them scoundrels or something like that. The same with senators. Like you don't want to give senators to them. Again, I think we can compete on it, but there's these extremes where I'm like, fuck it. Like let them. We can play anything. I do think like I think convocation can. I'm not going to play fist probably because I'm not going to take the duel where I have like the Hulk and stuff. But I actually do think like there's a part of me that's like if I can think of like a really good way to play Fisk, whether it's with Dracula or something, I would consider playing it like just to fuck with people, just to like be like, all right, I don't care, we're fucking with them somehow. I don't think it's as bad for us as people give credit for, and or people like to think. So that one's not out of the question, just to mess with people, just to be annoying. I know this is like the Leaf strategy of take really annoying secures and then he takes really fast extracts so he can do his jank on it if he wins priority, but that's not my plan. I think Deadline's an interesting one. I think it kind of hinges on me taking a particular model, which would be Juggernaut, would be the interesting model. I think if I took like a Juggernaut, like it could get kind of interesting to take Deadline because he's really good on it. So this is a consideration. McCrane. I think it's like 3 of these is my like initial. I could also see Fisk if I had a plan for it. I don't know. I don't really want any secures. Can I just not take secures? Right? The only problem with like a lot of the secures I'm thinking about is I don't actually think Dracula is like insane on them. I guess maybe if you take Infinity, well, the problem is the threat values. They're all really low, so like you're not playing. Dracula's just gonna come out when Dracula comes out. I need to stop thinking like I have to play Dracula. So I think if I would love to test like any of these. McCrane is both good but feels like terrible at the same time. I don't know. I would probably consider it. I don't know which ones I'm gonna take, guys. Infinity's so boring. Like, this would be kind of a funny one to take. Whatever, let's just put it in for now. I do think I need a 3 that is good in my roster. I think the hard part about this is drag. Do I have another roster slot? I think I'm running out of cards if I do this line. I think this is a really hard roster to cards, right? Because I need like Warpath. Do you know who else? Robbery. Who did I add? I'm a Baron. And I guess it would be like Chi Mastery would be the next one. Did I take anybody who else needs a card? I got his card, got his card, got his card, got his card. I got Warpath, which I just think is good for Convocation, period. So Chi. Let's just look at the breakdown. I don't hate this team off the top of my head. I don't have a 6, but I think I've said before that I don't think there's any world, for the most part, where I have to have a 6. I think there's some interesting, like, 20s that have, like, Juggernaut over Dracula. I think they're kind of two interesting models to use. Juggernaut is the one I kind of want to use a little bit more to test him. I feel like I've played him only 2 games in Convocation, and the first game I played him was after Squad Goals, where I'm like, oh, I think Juggernaut's good in Convocation in the new world. And it was like I played like wedding parties, and he almost won it for me. I was against Sooner, who's a great player, but like that wasn't like his like go-to position to be in. And he tried. I mean, he definitely tried his best, but like that's where like I didn't have another 5, where like probably Dracula maybe would have been better against Wakanda. It's always going to be hard. But the point being is, one thing I like about Juggernaut in Convocation is, of course, he's a big bump. He's good with books. He's a big bump. He's a tanky model. And it's just in this new world of... In the new world of how the game is played and scenarios, the play pattern of Juggernaut is walk, slide, punch, right? It's a very walk, slide, punch. Walk, slide, punch. And that works very well in a lot of scenarios, right? There's a lot of games where that play pattern is very good. And because it's not all E-maps and stuff like that. So, like, if you're on Deadline, for example, the fact that he can walk, slide to another Deadline, and punch somebody, like, I think the way to put it is, if you're on Intrusions with Juggernaut, this is probably... Think of it this way. Maybe we'll do... Let's do Dracula and Juggernaut. Let's just compare them a little bit, just from the outside, right? You're on something like a D map, and you're on one side of the D, and they're on another point that's connected, right? If you're Dracula, you need 2 moves to get to that other point. Deadline's probably not the best example. It's kind of in between where he can make it in 1 move, but just bear with me. You need 2 moves to get to the other point, and you might not even be able to long move smack them, or long move gaze, or walk gaze them and attack them off it. Maybe you could. You could at least double move and like hypnotic gaze them off. I don't think that's like the winning play pattern. But Juggernaut can walk, slide to the point, if he has room, of course, deal a damage, 8 dice punch him, possibly get him off of it, maybe slide again. And that's, you're like happy doing that, right? Now take the opposite example. Intrusions. You're just sitting on the points and you can get to wherever you need to go. Right? Whether it's teleporting or somebody's just right next to you. That's where Dracula is super good, because he can just hit 2 people for 7 dice and then gaze somebody. And where Juggernaut is like, I'm going to either walk to somewhere I don't want to be, slide, and then punch you for 8. So like, in the context of Juggernaut, double 5 dice punching is about the same as an 8 dice punch. There was some math talked about in Taco the other day. But that's not the context we're talking about. The context is, if you have to move in attack Juggernaut is way better at doing it because it naturally fits what he wants to do. As whereas Dracula, if you're in a position where you don't think you're gonna have to move to attack that often, then Dracula I think is better because if you're gonna just both stand there or you're gonna have a place to put him that he can just do his thing, he's much more obnoxious to deal with. So I think they're complementary fives in that case where if you're playing a D map and you really want another five because you're playing 20 threat, I don't know, they would never come up in particular in my games, but if you want to play like a high threat D map, maybe you're playing Virus and you want to play some high threat thing where you play like Zemo, Juggernaut, I don't know. You could also run like Rhino and stuff. I mean, we can. I mean, this might like morph into like taking different secures and stuff like that and stuff. I don't know. I just have this sense of like he has his uses, and I want to give him a shot. But also, if I take Deadline, he's really good there, and he's just really good with Bump. Like he's just a good model. He's just really obnoxious, and I used him at Squad Goals last year, and I feel like he got the short end of the stick at Squad Goals because why? Probably because what the fuck am I trying to say? Why do you get the short end of the stick at Squad? Oh, because I kept taking Mordo and Wong with him, and he like could only do so much in the games. But there are games where like him and Rhino like are legit together. I also want to put Rhino back in because I think Rhino's really good. On like some of these shapes, and depending on the threat level you get on them, like I think he can do a lot of work. Probably if I look at this team, right? Like I think you're always happy taking brace sack planes. Like you pretty much always take those, right? And then I think there's games where you don't want to take books, but I don't think it's not like that bad. But I also think Warpath. So the thing about Warpath is, I think it is an extremely good card for Convocation. Period. Whether you have Dracula or not. Yeah, I think Warpath is just a good card for Convocation to where like, if you, I mean, right now there's 4 models. There's 4 cards that apply to a model in the list, right? Warpath, Robbery, Baron, Chi Mastery, to where like if you didn't take any of those models, I don't think like you're that upset having to take Brace, Sack, Ironbound Books, Planes, Warpath. Like the only one that is going to be questionably useful would be Ironbound Books, and it's almost always like good enough. Like you're never going to be like that upset by having it. Because most teams I play have Shang, Zemo, Rhino, or Jugs, right? Like, there's not many teams that don't play those models to some extent. Or at least one of those. There are some that do, but usually you want books anyway. So, like, I think that's fine. I do think there's a world where you could, like, I know I'm Baron is good, but, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I also don't like spending a card. Fuck Zemo. I don't like playing Zemo that much. I know he's good. He's fine. He's there for a reason. Chi Mastery is the other one that I'm like, I could see dropping that one. I think there's a world with this roster. Probably the most unexplored, I'm using air quotes, unexplored is using like the Chi Mastery spot for the Dracula leadership just in case. Like, just in case you don't want to take, I don't know where you would do it though. That's the kind of the thing. Like I think there's like this world in my head where I'm like, oh my god, if I want to play Dracula, Juggernaut, Zemo, Magic at 16 Fisk or something, and I'm like, is it really like that special? Like to the point of like I want to take the card. Like that still doesn't even feel good because Dracula can't freaking, having to move to get on the Fisk sucks. Like it's at least better if like he's taking damage and can bump to it. Like if I got railed on Fisk, I would take like Magic. If I got 16 Fisk, I'd probably take Magic, Juggernaut, Taskmaster, Strange, and try to like fight my way out of it. That's not a bad 16, by the way. Juggernaut's pretty good with last activate. You have like 2 people who can easily get people off points. You have last activation if you're playing in 3 wide. and you do a decent amount of damage, and Taskmaster's tanky enough, Juggernaut tanky enough to like pick up things. Maybe that's like just fine. You say, all right, fuck it. I don't need the Dracula card. I could also see Chi Mastery or something being like one of the other convocation cards, and just accepting that like, okay, Plains of Poldock is really good on Shang, and you don't need his card, but it's never a bad thing. I don't know. It's also one of those things that like if you're taking books, like unless I'm taking like if you ask me to take between Chi Mastery and Warpath as my fifth card, I'd probably always pick Warpath even without Dracula. I just think it's that good on Convocation, especially because if used correctly, like you can get out of people's secondary attacks with bump almost no matter where they put you. So like in real quickly, if you're base to base with somebody and they attack you and you bump away with Strange, he'll still be within range 2 because his base is not far enough. But if you Warpath, you can Warpath through them and bump out the other side, and you can actually get out of range of their second attack. So it's almost like a get out of jail free card or a fallback in some cases. Like you can almost use it like a fallback. Of course, you're not going away; you're going towards them. It's before damage. It's not before damage. There's differences, but point being is, I actually just think it's just such a really good card for Convocation and in general, to be honest, with Rhino, with Juggernaut, with anybody to just get into position. It has a lot of uses that I almost don't care about Chi Mastery. Like it might come in sometimes. I guess if I wasn't taking Ironbound books, I would take Chi Mastery in that case. But like, I guess what I'm saying is, if I thought that Dracula's leadership was really good or another Convocation card was really good, I'd probably replace Chi Mastery with it. Hell, this could be my lunch meat list. I kind of like it. I really do want to try new secures. I also think like on McCrane, like it's weird because I actually think Juggernaut's very good on all my secures, and I actually don't think that Dracula's as good on my secures, but he's really good on some of the other ones that I could get stuck on. Also things like I don't know. I really like Dracula, and I really think he's going to be needed when we're getting stuck on like wedding parties and like intrusions and stuff. I think having him like in the fucking middle, being the man, is really strong. Because intrusions you could run like Strange, Task, Magic, Dracula, Zemo, for example, and I think that's a pretty good intrusions team. You have some movement, some displacement, but also like Magic doesn't want to get hit a bunch, but like she's also not bad at doing it. She can also stand back and like bring herself in later on. Good wake up power, stuff like that. I don't know. I think this team is pretty good. I think it's pretty good, right? Could be good. We all know Rhino's good. I took him to a local event, and he felt really good. I mean, he's always been good for Convocation, but like it feels good to have him back is probably the way to put it. This is actually, is it close to my team I took to squad goals last year? This would have been Ultron. I didn't have Rhino. Magic was fucking Mordo. God. Mordo is so shitty. This is such like a better version of that list. It's also kind of interesting because I got some throws over here now. Like you can actually run like a Juggernaut Rhino team and actually have a decent amount of throws. There's some funny things you can do with Juggernaut too. Like if you really want to, if someone is really like ballsy enough to like go, I don't know, take Hulk and pick up an extract in the middle turn 1 versus you, you could double walk Juggernaut, throw them backwards with Do You Know Who I Am, and then like Strange is standing there and he can like instantly play Plains of Poldock and like hit him with like Voodoo Magic Strange with like, I think the math is if you Plains of Poldock somebody and get to hit him with all 3 of these guys, even just doing their builders, you do like 17 or 18 damage to Hulk or something like crazy like that. Like you can almost kill him in one go if they're ballsy enough to do it. Now they're probably not going to do it versus you, but hey, it's kind of funny if they did, right? But yeah, I don't know. This seems like a fun team, and I don't want to play. And it's I think the secures and stuff. I might take out McCrane as a last ditch. I've played it a lot. I mean, Jugs is good at it. In theory, he can go around a lot to him. Maybe being able to play Jugs and like Jugs Zemo, Magic Wong, Strange is that's 18 points. So hey, you take Rhino instead. Rhino, Jugs, Magic Wong. Strange seems pretty good there. You have two people. Everyone can move around really fast, and turn one power on Strange or something isn't bad. And that seems okay. I think I did that team, but I had Dracula, and he's fine. But being able to move around with Jugs is like that's another one where moving around is very valuable. And so even though Dracula can double tap people, he spends so much time walking and attacking and walking and attacking and walking and attacking that like you might as well just be Juggernaut in that particular instance. So that's where he kind of fills that gap. And I do like teams like Strange, Voodoo, Magic, Shang, Rhino at 20 if you're against like a really scenario heavy team, potentially on like Scoundrels or something. Um, yeah, I just think there's uses for like all sort of the you have really heavy. Oh yeah, like 17 of like Voodoo, Magic, Wong, Shang, Rhino is like a cool 17 if you're against like webs or something because like okay you don't have Strange but you have like really five really strong pieces against them to fight and like steal stuff, so you definitely have some uses there if you want to go like five wide, or you can just turn like Strange, Voodoo, Magic, Juggernaut. Even on a D is like it's probably not amazing, but it's doable. You have three people who are really good at attacking Mystic. You know they can't really move Juggernaut if he has a secure, and then he can bump into him and punch him real hard and kill Gwen and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm gonna put this video out. Maybe run with these and see how it works. Thanks for listening.